it becomes particularly powerful when we've learned to experience with an empty mind. So please, you don't have to be enlightened to do that. That's nothing to do with enlightenment. That's just training yourself out of your thought habits of having to talk to yourself all the time and describe and experience the world through words. There's different kinds of practices. One popular one is mindfulness, where people sit and observe their thoughts all the time. It's a very useful practice in so much as looking at thought patterns and your repeated thought patterns and the way your thought patterns change in the presence of other people and in specific situations. And we use mindfulness to actually get at our conditioning and to realize why we're the way we are and how we're reacting and how our reactions are fueling other people's reactions. It's a very useful tool for getting and undoing the knots in the mind. As a beginner though, the problem when you start looking at your mind is that basically wherever you put your attention, you put more energy to it, you see. And if your attention is a sort of up and down and all over the place attention, then when you look at the mind with that up and down all over the place attention and tension as well, then you create up and down all over the place and more tension in the mind. It kind of gets reflected in its thought process. So the more energy you put into the mind, the more difficult it would seem it is to meditate, the more your mind suddenly becomes like a circus and thoughts erupt and it becomes overwhelming. You've come to sit and you're lost in a mad circus. Well, you've basically put all your energy into your mind and you're looking at the mind. So remember, mindfulness is just one tool. It is not the whole process. A way to find some tranquility. So it's much easier to bypass that as a beginner, okay, and work with your body. Now your body has its own intelligence, and your body has its own intelligence which precedes thought. So your body's intelligence was there before your mental processes even existed. So, how do we tap into this innate, intelligent awareness that exists without mind? Was you aware of... Try this. Do your finger. Tap on your hand. Are you aware of that? Did you need to intellectualize that to feel it? Can you feel that? We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to describe it, do we? Oh, I can feel a tingling sensation. I'm tapping. No, stop all that. Stop any drama. Stop any thought, any talk, any word. So there's a cognition of a sensation. That pure state of cognition, that knowingness before the mind begins its nonsense and its drama, that cognition, that's it. You already know all this, you already have it within you. It's just that the mind has got in the way and it's brought all these ideas and concepts and drama and flashing lights and brain candy to your spirituality. And it's just as simple. Are you aware of that? There is a pure state of awareness that exists within everybody. But we've just forgotten to use it. You used it when you were a baby. So, how to get to looking and experiencing sensations in the world around us without using words or the mind. Well, the Qigong practice leads you into that naturally. So when I'm practicing, for example, you might just think I'm breathing and moving my hands up and down. Okay, that's a part of it, yes, is timing the breath and the movement, which helps us to move effortlessly. Breathing in, breathing out. It's a lot easier to move the body up and down with the inhalation and the exhalation. Okay, that's one part of it. And the main part of it is the Nigong. And I'm putting my attention into the palm of my hand. So this is not an attention that's using words. It's because they're not necessary. I'm not like, oh, now I'm in my hand, and oh yes, I'm in my hand, I'm in my hand, and I'm experiencing this in, oh, and there's a tick. No, I don't have that going on. There is nothing going on apart from an empty observer of whatever is here. And I breathe in, and I keep my attention there. There's no words. On the out breath, that empty attention comes to my lower dantian. And things happen. So there's an observation then of something happening and something happening. There's not a single word going on. And what we find is that when we listen to the way our body feels very intently, when you really, it's kind of a listening feeling. You know when you're listening really hard to something and you're straining to listen, and you can hear this very faint sound, and you're able to exclude all other things apart from the sensation, the straining in the ear. It's that kind of attention that we put into the feeling of the sensations. It's a really deep listening to the feelings, really deep, empty listening. And you'll find that when you just do that deep, empty listening, your mind becomes quiet of all other things. And then the practice actually starts to take over, because you're working with consciousness and energy. And the more you do this, the more you focus on being here and here, without words, without needing to visualize, because that's also just another part of the brain. When you visualize, you're not experiencing what is. You're forcing what is. You're forcing your imagination. You're forcing that part of your body to comply with your No, stop that. Just be there. And just be here. No words, no visualization, and do the practice. And you will find that over time, that very gentle, empty awareness that you've developed through doing your Qigong practice, that you're able then to sit in a Zen practice of sitting, and you've already learned that gentle awareness. Or let's say you want to go and see your Advaita guru, Muji or whoever he is. You've already learned that empty, quiet observer. And that's 90% of the work. All it needs now is for your Zen master, or for your Advaita guru, or for your enlightened yoga master, your Tibetan Buddhist teacher, your Tibetan Buddhist master. All it takes for them then is just to give you a very little gentle push, and Satori may arise naturally. You may get there by yourself, but it's much easier if you learn the very basics of being an empty observer, and then go and find, well, to be honest, a teacher usually appears when you get to that point. The universe pats you on the back and will provide you with a teacher who can take you the rest of the way. That's how it seems to work. When the student is ready, the master appears. But you must develop that empty awareness without words, without visualizations, and without emotions.